Well, he stands at 7'3". He was the first pick of the NBA draft and then 2024 Rookie of the Year. San Antonio Spurs All-Star and French basketball phenom Victor Wembanyama shocked the basketball world this week after he was sidelined for the rest of the season because of a life-threatening blood clot.
Wemby, as everybody knows him, has just been having an extraordinary year, but he has been diagnosed with deep vein thrombosis in his right shoulder after traveling back from the NBA All-Star game last week. This condition is typically treated with blood-thinning medication, which prevents athletes from participating in contact sports such as basketball for extended periods of time. Dr. Leah Kroll joins us now to break it all down. So, Dr. Kroll, thank you for being with us. You know, like any basketball fan, you got to love Wemby, right? He's this special talent. He's just an amazing person to watch on the court. This season-ending injury, how could it affect his playing career moving forward? How concerning a diagnosis is this?
Well, I'm a huge Wemby fan, so I'm hoping that the rest of his career is safe and secure. You know, the million-dollar question here is what caused this DVT? You know, when we think about clots in the legs or the lungs, typically there's a number of medical problems that cause that. But when we think about clots in the arms and shoulders, we're worried more about some provoking factor like an injury or a surgery. So in athletes, I call them overhead athletes in my practice, athletes who shoot, who pitch, who play tennis, who have repetitive movements of the shoulder and arm, they can be prone to various injuries in the area that then compress the nearby veins and cause the clot. So it's really a matter of what is the underlying issue and can that be addressed?
So the Spurs also lead the NBA in most miles traveled this season. For a player that's, more than 7 feet tall, could spending that much time on planes have actually contributed to his condition?
Carrie, I'm glad you asked this because I think it's important. Often we warn patients about, spending long time in the car or on plane rides. Certainly that can provoke clots in the legs that can then travel to the lungs. That is typically not the case when we're talking about clots in the upper body. Immobility really is not a known risk factor for that. It's much more about an underlying compressive factor like an injury or a surgery in that part of the body.
And there is concern that Wemby's diagnosis could be the same one that ended the great Chris Bosh's career. What do you think of that possibility? And is it true with clots that once your body starts developing them, there's a risk, lifetime risk, that you could do it again, or no?
Well, yes and no. Certainly, anytime someone's had a blood clot, we worry that they may be at a higher risk, in the future. I think the difference between Wemby and Bosh is that Bosh had repeated clots and clots in different parts of the body. For Wemby, he had what we call a provoked DVT, meaning a clot that occurred because of some issue in the shoulder, most likely an overuse injury. Sometimes it can be related to a bony problem in the area. But typically, if that underlying issue is resolved, that player can go on, with the safety and security of knowing that the risk for developing another clot is relatively small. However, if a player is developing repeated clots in different types of the body, or there's an underlying provoking factor for blood clots that can't be addressed, then we would worry that they would be at risk for either needing long-term blood thinning medication or having life-threatening clots.
Got it. It does sound reassuring at this point. Thank you for your expertise. Like there are all kinds of things that might be in play, and the docs are going to take a look at them.
Thanks, Leah.
Thank you.